Last time I came was at the memorial service of Swami Prakasananda ji. I had enjoyed his affection and love and blessings for a long time through a period of years, beginning from India. But his memories, this place is filled with his memories. Swami Chidananda requested me to give a lecture on Sunday, that is tomorrow. And this evening, he said, that you just sit and tell informally some of my reminiscences of the great disciples I have seen. It is indeed a privilege to meet a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, whether monastic or lay devotees. And in my experience, I have met some of these disciples, monastic and also men as also women. First, let me tell about the women devotees whom I have met. This meeting was just darshan, I have seen. This is Krishnamai, the daughter of Balaram Basu. You have read in the Gospel that once Sri Ramakrishna had a vision of the Divine Mother in the child Krishnamai's eyes. He had a vision of the cosmic aspect of God. And he said, concluded that as if the whole universe is looking through the eyes of Krishnamai. The Krishnamai was the daughter of Balaram Basu. This Krishnamai, when she was older, her son, one of her, I think the only son, her only son became a monk of our order. He is still living, about my age, little younger. So once Krishnamai came to Belur Mutt in the morning, and the sadhus, monastics, brahmacharis and sannyasins in those days was a busy time for them in dressing vegetables. They were with kind of carved knives. They were preparing vegetables. And the custom used to be the sadhus would sit and dress vegetables, and one of them would read from a holy book. So that was going on, and one tall lady, very benign look, everybody looked at her and whispered, "Is Krishnamai, Krishnamai." And she came and looked at the sadhus, and with folded hands, she showed her respect and affection for these sadhus. Those sadhus are much younger to her then. This is one lady devotee of Sri Ramakrishna I met. Another one was the wife of Navagopal Ghosh. The description is in the books. Navagopal Ghosh was a householder devotee. He has built a house in a place on the same side of the river Ganga as Belur Math, that is the western side, in a village. The name of that village was Ramakrishnapur. So he was very happy. That is, he has now a home in Ramakrishnapur. Then he wanted to install Sri Ramakrishna's image in a shrine. And it was the time when Swami Vivekananda had just returned from the West. We have the description in the complete works of Swami Vivekananda, how and Swami Vivekananda was requested to come and install this image in their house. So the description, a vivid description of Swami Vivekananda, along with many sannyasins, monks and brahmacharis of Belur Math, they came in boats, several boats, to the landing place, Ghat of the Ramakrishnapur. And by singing kirtans, and Swamiji was barefooted. And they came, and Swamiji sat there to do the puja. Detailed description we find in the books, I did not say. Then Swamiji, one of Swamiji's disciples, Swami Prakasananda, who for many years was the head of our San Francisco Vedanta Society, Swami Prakasananda, he assisted Swamiji in doing the puja. Then when the puja was done, the shrine was very nice. Its floor was marble floor, and so this lady of the house, the wife of Ramgopal Ghosh, Navagopal Ghosh, her name I forget what was, Nistarini Devi. She said, bless us that Thakur stays here. And Swamiji joked, Swamiji, Thakur, that means Sri Ramakrishna, had never seen in his life such. Never. He used to live in a cottage and then later on in a room, and this marble floor, such a nice house you have made for him, his shrine. Do you think he would not like it and would not like to stay here? And then during the puja, during the worship, Swamiji composed that poem which we sing every night with our Vesper. Sthapukaya Chadharmasya Sarvadharma Sarupine Avatar Varisthaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namah. Can you hear me? Because this mic, I cannot adjust the mic. Sometimes if it is... Anyway, you can hear me. Now this lady, after her husband passed away, it was her custom to visit Belur Math every year on Sri Ramakrishna's public celebration evening, and she would bring with her, I could say almost a cartload of sandesh. Sandesh, you have eaten sandesh here. And this was kadapak sandesh. That means it was last for so many days. It was made hard for that purpose. And her injunction was, this sandesh is for sadhus, only for sadhus. 2 days they will. So this lady also was tall, and you can at once see that this is an unusual character. You see? And all the sadhus had great respect. She would not allow anybody to touch her feet, because sannyasins, but she would also hold her palms like this. And sadhus would also stand around and show their respect. So this woman devotee I have seen, who was blessed by Sri Ramakrishna, was very dear to him. Then another woman devotee I have seen, she was the wife of Swami Yogananda. When Swami Yogananda was, his paternal house was Dakshineshwar, and it was Sri Ramakrishna, by Sri Ramakrishna. As a boy, young man, he used to come to Dakshineshwar, meet the master, and developed a strong spirit of renunciation. And Sri Ramakrishna was very happy. Then his mother very much appealed to him for marriage. But if you do not marry, then there will be no, because he was the only son, I think. But he would not do that. His spirit did not want that. His spirit was for sannyasa, renunciation. But eventually the mother threatened him that if you do not marry, then I will commit suicide. So he was a very soft-natured person. So mother is saying that, and so by the coincidence of incident, he had to marry. And then he would not come to Dakshineshwar. He said, how can I show this face to Sri Ramakrishna, who expected me to be a monk, and instead I have married? So he was very much ashamed, felt a kind of guilt, and would not come and see the master. So the master asked other people, where is Jogen? Then one man in that village said, well, he has married. Probably due to that, he is ashamed to come to you. Then he said, tell him to come, because once I gave him some money, 2 rupees or so, to buy something, and he has not returned me the changes. So tell him to come. And when Jogen heard this, he was so shocked that, oh, Sri Ramakrishna thinks that I am a thief. And he was very much shocked, you see, because there was a great shock to his love and respect, and thought, one day I shall go and the change, I will make a package of that and throw it to him, and won't talk to him and come back. At least this should be done, because it is not good that I have forgotten that he owes that money to me. I owe that money to him. So one day he came with head bent down like this. Then Sri Ramakrishna caught him. Well, what do you think? You have married, what does it matter you have married? By Mother Kali's grace, all the avidya, all the maya will be eaten up by Mother Kali. You bring your wife to me one day, and I will bless him. So Jogen brought his wife one day, and Sri Ramakrishna blessed that lady, and So Jogan later on, as you know, he joined the Baranagar Mutt and he was a monastic. See? Again, he was the first monk to die during Swami Vivekananda's age, living when he was. And Swami Vivekananda was so sad. Now, I had the good fortune to meet this lady, Swami Yogananda's wife. By that time, she was pretty old. One day, she had come to Belur Mutt, and Mahapurush Maharaj, Swami Shivananda, was the abbot. And when he heard, and he was so respectful that it was dear Guru Bhais. He showed much respect, and on the veranda of the mutt, upper story, she was seated and asked these sevakas to bring her some fruits and all, and make a big a basket of fruits and some cloth and some money, because by that time she had become very poor. So I was a brahmachari then. I had joined the mutt by that time. It must be the year 31 or so. I joined in 1930. And so many of the monks who were closer were here. They heard that this lady had come. So everybody came and showed their respect to him. A remarkable lady, and received Sri Ramakrishna's tangible blessings, and so that her husband would be able to live a life full of renunciation, and she would be the first to take care of Holy Mother. She was Holy Mother's first sevaka, Swami Yogananda. So I had the good fortune to meet this lady. And I might have met some other women devotees who had met Sri Ramakrishna. Now I shall come to men. Sri Ramakrishna, Swamiji, when he came to this country, he said, sisters and brothers of America, not brothers and sisters. In one of my articles, about Vivekananda, I wrote an article for. In that article, I had mentioned that Swamiji, about Chicago Parliament Regents, addressed the gathering as brothers and sisters. So the typist saw this mistake. What you have written? Swamiji's famous utterance was sisters and brothers of America. Now I shall come and give some of the memories of the men devotees. First I shall begin with a householder, a great householder devotee whom each of you know, the author of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, M. M, as you know, was a school teacher all through his life. When he met Sri Ramakrishna, he was a school teacher, and he brought many young boys of his school to Sri Ramakrishna, and people used to call him the boy catching master. Boy catching is not good English. What would be better English? Huh?
Boy kidnapper.
Anyway.
Kidnapper.
There were several senior disciples who were first. It was M who brought them to Sri Ramakrishna. Now, when I came to Calcutta from village after finishing my school studies, came to Calcutta for college studies, by that time I was somewhat acquainted with Ramakrishna Vivekananda literature. So one day I went to see M. He was then living in the school which he had founded the school was called Morton Institution. He had not founded that, but it was a school. Its name was Morton Institution. He bought that school. And that in that school, he organized a school was going on, and he used to live there. It is a 4-storied building. On the top, he used to, and in the evening, the devotees would come. Many devotees would come. Sadhus will come often. And because he was respected by all sadhus, the great disciples of Sri Ramakrishna had so much reverence for him because he was older also, and they knew how dear he was to Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna wanted him to, reserved him for this work which he did later, the recording the conversation of Sri Ramakrishna. So he was well known among devotees and sadhus. Many sadhus would come and salute him, and in the evening there would be a kind of holy company, and he would narrate many incidents, and he was a great scholar also. He had studied many things, many subjects he could talk about. But the focus of his talk was always Sri Ramakrishna. And if you would see that somebody is talking something of this and that, of newspapers, of this and that, he would so cleverly divert the conversation. See? So one day I went to see him, and I went up to 3rd floor, and I met a young man. He later on became one of our monks, but then at that time he was a cook of that establishment, of that house. Very gentle, he greeted me. I said, I have come to see him. Then he said, it is too early. He usually meets devotees in the evening after 6, and I had gone, it was about 4 o'clock. It was too early. Then he said, you please wait. Then he will go when the devotees come, 5:30 or 6 according to the season. And we were sitting and chatting. Then through one door, an elderly person entered. And bare body, just a towel on his shoulder. He was going to take his shower or just to the bathroom. And that was through that room he was going. And he entered this room. We were sitting and chatting. And he looked at me. And I looked at his face. And I had never seen before his picture. But when I looked at his face, this young man who was with whom I was chatting, he signed to me like this. This is the M. But it was not necessary to tell me, because by looking at his face, I at once knew that who he was. So this young man told him that he has come to see you. Then he, by his sign of his hand, yes, please wait here, I will call you. So he went to the bathroom to wash him and all. Then he went. And I had not to wait till 6 o'clock. Very soon, within half an hour, I was called. So I went to the 4th story. He was sitting there on a bench. And there were other benches. Devotees would come later. And I saluted him, and he was so sweet and humble. I cannot really describe how a man could be, his voice, his talking, voice could be so gentle and sweet. So he asked me who I was, and so I told him I've come to have my college studies and all. He was very happy to know that I already am acquainted with some of Ramakrishna literature. Then he asked me, do you know to sing? I said, no, sir. I do not know to sing. Do you know any song by heart? Have you heard any good religious song? And have you? Well, yes, that I have done. Plenty of songs. I join in our village. There is kirtan parties. I have heard many songs. But do you remember any song that you can repeat? Then I thought a little. Well, yes, one song I can repeat to you, but I cannot sing. No necessity of singing. You just repeat to me the song that you know by heart. So I began to repeat that song. Later on, of course, I learned that song and other songs also. See? So I repeated, and the words of the song are like this: a seeker of God is seeking God and finds that God is, he tries in so many ways, but God is really beyond his reach. Then the words are very emotional words. This Bengali kirtan. See, if you if you want me, I can hum that song later on. আমার এত কাছে কাছে হৃদয়ের মাঝে রয়েছ তুমি তো হরি Jo Hari, O God, Lord, you are sitting in my heart all the time. মনে ভাবি আমি কত দূরে তুমি রয়েছ আমারে পাশারি. But foolish as I am, I think that you are far away in some distant heaven perhaps, and this is my foolishness. But in my heart of hearts I know that you are sitting in the depth of my consciousness. This is the first two lines. Then just as there are the bees intuitionally they fly around and eventually they come to the flowers which have honey. So my heart also I am seeking here and there, but don't know when I shall come to that flower where there is honey. That means when I shall reach you. Like a bee, I am wandering and seeking you. Then Bengali words I suddenly forget. Then, just as there is a puppet show, the puppets are dancing and doing different performances, and the puppets is all manipulated by a man beyond the screen with thread. So in this, we are just like puppets, and you are manipulating us. But we do not know who is manipulating, whose power, whose Shakti is working through us. So we are puppets. Then just as a blind man surrounded with darkness, though you are in the light, in broad daylight, a blind man cannot see. So like that, you are the light of all lights. You are present everywhere in my heart and the place I am. But I cannot see you. I am blind by the darkness. Though there is light, you are the light, but I cannot, such misfortune that I cannot see you. Like this, these words are like this, very emotional. And as I repeat two lines, and the M says, oh, like this, see the feelings that the devotee is seeking the Lord, but he is so unfortunate that he cannot touch him. He cannot really feel his living, tangible presence. You want to hear a few lines? But my Dr. Ghosh, she examined me just 15 minutes ago and found my blood pressure is super high. But my blood pressure, sometimes it is high, but I don't care much, you see. So don't hold responsible Dr. Ghosh that if in the process of singing something happens. আমার এত কাছে কাছে হৃদয়ের মাঝে রয়েছ তুমি তো হরি। আমার এত কাছে কাছে হৃদয়ের মাঝে রয়েছ তুমি তো হরি। মনে ভাবি আমি কত দূরে তুমি, মনে ভাবি আমি কত দূরে তুমি রয়েছ আমারে পাশরি। হরি রয়েছ আমারে পাশরি। আমার এত কাছে কাছে হৃদয়ের মাঝে রয়েছ তুমি তো হরি। I'll skip the intermediate lines and come to the last two lines. The light, that though a blind man is surrounded by light, he cannot see the light. So you, God, the light of all lights, are always with me. But so unfortunate I am that I cannot get any glimpse of you. যেমন আলোক সাগরে অন্ধ স্নান করে, আলোক বুঝিতে নারে। যেমন আলোক সাগরে অন্ধ স্নান করে, আলোক বুঝিতে নারে। তেমনি তোমাতে থাকিয়া, তোমাতে ডুবিয়া, তোমাতে থাকিয়া, তোমাতে ডুবিয়া বুঝিতে নারিনু তোমারে। হরি বুঝিতে নারিনু তোমারে। আমার এত কাছে কাছে। And as I was singing this song, M closed his eyes, and from time to time he was saying, oh, 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 you see, he was appreciating deeply. Then after some time, devotees began to come one after the other. And then when there were several devotees, M said to them, this gentleman, you see, M was so humble, a boy or a young man or old man, everybody, he would say, this gentleman. He would not allow anybody to touch his feet. So he says, this gentleman, though I was a boy of 17, just come to fresh to college, 17 or 17 half. this this gentleman knows a beautiful song, but he cannot sing. And he repeated that song. It was a splendid song. Then he asked me, would you repeat again for these devotees? So I had to repeat again, once again. So later on I thought, this is a blessed song, I should learn this song. So I learned that song. I have, during my college days, and even when I became a brahmachari, once I went to see him, and he was very happy that I could renounce and become a brahmachari of Belur Math. So I had the occasion of seeing him many times during this session. Even a few days before his passing away, in company of some other sadhus, we went to see him. At that time he could not sit, he was lying down, but still his face, as you see in the picture, was so serene, and he would talk only of God, only of Thakur, only of Mother. This was an unusual experience to have met this holy man, a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, a householder disciple, but he was much more than a sannyasi. His whole life was so simple. And so all the sadhus, many sadhus used to have his company, and through his contact, several of our swamis could become monk. One of the great sadhus who was in America, Swami Raghavananda. So from his college days, he had an intimate association with M. And even after returning from the West, he used to have close company. Then another Swami who was very intimate with him was Swami Vishwananda, the founder of the Chicago Center. Not the founder was Swami Ganeshwarananda. Just after his death, he came to this country, Swami Vishwananda, who was very fat, you see, very fat. And that was another Swami. I am mentioning the Swamis whom you possibly know because they had come to this country. Otherwise, many Swamis, through his association, got imbibed the spirit of renunciation. Because he would always speak of renunciation, this M. To householder devotees, he would say, Belur Math is so near. Why don't you go to Belur Math? And some would say, no, we like your company. And he would scold them severe at that time, at those remarks. We are householder. I am a householder like you. And they are sadhus, they are renunciates. Like that, he would encourage people to go and have companies of sadhus. Now I would come to not much time for Mahapurush. No. Mahapurush Maharaj. I had met Swami Viganananda, who was our president for 2 years, I think. I had also met Swami Subodhananda, who was the youngest of the monastic disciples. And I had met also Swami Shraddhananda. I had met also Swami Vedananda. And I have met Swami Shivananda, Mahapurush Maharaj, who was my guru. I would first mention how I met him first time. It was, I had already come to Calcutta for my college studies, and I met a young man. He was senior to me. He was studying MA, and I had just come for the first year college course. But somehow I was acquainted with him, and he used to tell me about Mahapurush Maharaj. He was then touring in the south of India. And by that time I had met Swami Abhedananda, who had returned from the West and established a center called Vedanta Society. I used to attend his classes sometimes, and some of his disciples wanted me very much to be initiated by Swami Abhedananda. And there was one who was persistently telling me, why don't you take mantra diksha, initiation? I said, I don't know anything about initiation, but I am. Somehow it did not happen. But I had met him and attended his class, and then this young man who was a student, he was already initiated by Swami Chidananda. So he used to tell me about when Swami Chidananda returns to the mutt, you will be able to see him, what a splendid personality he is. So I was waiting for his return from his southern tour. So he came, I heard that he has come, and this friend of mine also told me that we shall go together. The next day is Shivaratri day, Shivaratri. He had come. Do you observe Shivaratri here?
We sometimes do, sometimes observe.
A special worship of the Lord Shiva, whole night. And so he had arrived just a few days before Shivaratri. So many devotees wanted to see him, and Shivaratri was a holiday, so they came to the Belur Math. So we also went, and in the afternoon, many of you, those of you who have seen the picture of Belur Math, and there is the Ganges, and there is the main building, and there are benches there. So people are waiting in that veranda for Swami Chidananda to come down. He used to live in the second story. Everybody was waiting, and I was waiting with great expectation. So then slowly he came down, and as soon as I saw him, then I felt that this is my Guru. And though I had met Swami Shraddhananda before, Shraddhananda I met like a shadow, just a shadow. You have heard in Holy Mother's books that when Holy Mother was in Calcutta, men could not see her face. Just the feet were exposed and they could see her feet. And there was a veil on her head like this. You could not see her face. So those who would like to see her face would have to go to Jairambati. There she was a village girl, very free. So people often they would like to see her at Jairambati rather than in Calcutta. Now, once it so happened, I am making a little digression. Once it so happened that a devotee had gone to have darshan of Holy Mother, and Holy Mother had her veil, and just barely, sometimes the veil would move and you could see her eyes in it. This man, this devotee, he had gone, and he could see only her face, touch her face, but could not see her face, just the feet. And he was very close to M. So he had come in the evening. Then M asked him, well, you had darshan, you had met Holy Mother, how blessed you are. Then this man sadly said, I could not see her face. I could only see her feet. Then M asked, did she look at you? It so happened that in one of those moments, when Holy Mother's veil had opened a little and she had a glimpse of her face. This man. So, did she look at you? Well, yes, that in a way she looked at me. But that is sufficient. M said, that is sufficient. And he began to sing a song. There is a song by one great Bengali saint, Ram Prasad or Kamalakanta, I forget. If I should sing that if the mother just glances at you once, then that is enough. See? If the mother, Kamalakanta's song, the Kamalakanta, if the mother, a little glance, even a casting glance, if you receive from the mother, then this is enough for you, for your life. So M quoted this song, this line of this song to this gentleman and consoled him. Now, when Mahapurush Maharaj came down, he was tall, very tall, and his face was so full of joy. And he greeted all these devotees who had come. He was absent from the mutt more than 1 year about. So he greeted everybody, and I felt myself very happy. And then my friend who had taken me, he said, come forward, I introduce you to him, because he was already initiated. I was a shy sort of boy. I said, no, there are so many people here. I don't want to go in this crowd. Sometime later I will come, or he will bring me. No, this is a great opportunity to come. He dragged me. He dragged me towards him and said, this boy has been coming to Belur Math and all. And then Mahapurush Maharaj looked at me. He has fasted today. It is a Shivaratri day. It is customary to observe a fasting for the whole day and night, those who can. This boy had fasted for Shivaratri. And Mahapurush Maharaj said, oh, that is so great. Very nice, very nice. Then he began to look at me. See? Very nice. That was my first introduction. Then another day I came alone and saluted him in the morning and prayed for Diksha, that means initiation. He said, well, this is the last month of the year. The last month of the year is called Chaitra. This is not very auspicious for initiation. You come and the new year comes. New year was not far away. Come someday, New Year. So on the first day of the New Year, the first of Vaishak, he appeared. And he saw me. Oh, you have come for initiation on the first day of the Vaishak. You see, this is a holy day and so many people will come here, and it is very difficult to find time. So then I said, shall I come tomorrow then? Then he laughed. Then he said, all right, come tomorrow. So next day I went with fruits and all and had his blessings. Then I used to go to Belur Math from time to time, from college directly. In those days, there was a steamer service that is no longer in existence. And now you have to go by bus, crowded bus, but steamer service was very pleasant. See, from Calcutta, different parts of Calcutta, to Dakshineshwar, up to Dakshineshwar you could go. So you used to go and meet Mahapurush Maharaj, and his very presence was very elevating. You see, then in 1930 I became a brahmachari. That was a Buddha's day, birthday. I had gone from Calcutta to participate in the Buddha celebration. That was my objective, because I was a science student. I was working in the laboratory. Summer vacation was drawing near. So my professor gave me some jobs to do for the summer vacation. Well, you have no vacation. You have to work all through the vacation. So I had those things in the laboratory and all. I came to Belur Math with the purpose of joining the Buddha celebration in the evening. And some sadhus, some of the monks, they teased me from time to time. We want you to be a monk, and you are being carried away by this. You have graduated and you are now going for this and that. You will be dragged away. You would never be able to join. They began to tease me. Then I said, no, that is my life's great purpose. But let me finish this, let me finish this course in this way. But then one of the monks, he became, well, no, you will never be able to become a monk. You will be dragged away by science. Then something happened in me. A mood of challenge came to me. I said, all right, I join this day, this holy day, this Shiva's day, not Shiva's day, Buddha's birthday. I joined this day. So they were astonished that I could make a decision like that. So two of them, one was later on, he came to this country, Swami Nirbanananda. Later on he became the vice president of our order, Swami Nirbanananda. Swami Madhavananda was our general secretary and president for about 2 years and a half. They had come to dedicate the Santa Barbara temple here in this country. So Swami Nirbanananda was one of these Swamis who was teasing me. So Swami Nirbanananda, there was another Swami. Two of them dragged me upstairs. The Maharaj to Mahapurush Maharaj. The Maharaj, this boy wants to join, and if you bless him. Then Mahapurush Maharaj looked at me. Yes, I know this boy. But whether he would join or no, that is not I cannot say. You take them to secretary and all. The administrative department, you see. So they took me to the administrative department, and they inquired about my family position and all. Then they approved, and I began to stay. Then those are very happy days, because in the morning he would be ready to meet the resident sadhus and brahmacharis by 6 o'clock or latest 6:30. and all would come one by one, the sadhus and brahmacharis, and he would be in another mood, a mood of inspired mood. See? You would feel that his whole being is filled with Sri Ramakrishna. He could not look at the picture of Sri Ramakrishna. He would look at the picture from his room, the shrine, that's the old shrine now. Old shrine, towards the old shrine, he would look from his room. And then as soon as he would look, and his face would be different. You see. So in that, from 6:30, about 2 hours, this meeting would go on. And in sadhu coming, and he would greet them. And sometimes sadhus from outside would come, and he would talk with these sadhus who have come after a long time. And sometimes he would ask somebody to chant one hymn to Shiva, Mahimna Statra, which is every Monday. It is usual to, Monday is considered to be Shiva's day. And he would ask somebody to read that hymn. And so that those 2 hours was really a period of inspiration. See? So I would, so many sadhus are coming, you cannot sit there quiet, you have to come out. And sometimes I would come out and stand in close, you see, so that I could follow. And his blessings were, see, he had blessings for everyone. And sometimes if South Indian sadhus would come, he would talk with English. And I remember once a South Indian sannyasi had come and asked for his blessings. And he at once, he was in a standing position, he was standing. So blessings? We have nothing but blessings. We have nothing but blessings. And sometimes when he was in an inspired mood, he would go on speaking, you see. So one day, I was then reading, in our Belur Math there was a Sanskrit school for brahmacharis and sadhus. And so, too many things I was reading, and some of the marbles are lost. So one day, he very affectionately, he would, at that time I had the duty of taking care of Swami Vivekananda's room. Go there every day, clean that room, and in the evening open the windows and close the windows that is necessary. So I made repeatedly 3 mistakes, and he scolded me. Well, you are studying, what Upanishads you are studying? Well, I am studying this Mandukya Upanishad. Mandukya Upanishad? See, that is great, you study Upanishads, studying scriptures is good. But don't forget bhakti. Bhakti means devotion. Always pray with folded hands to Thakur. Thakur, give me devotion, give me faith. In these folded hands, he showed me. You should, every day you go to Thakur and pray for bhakti. By Thakur's grace, you can have knowledge in a moment, because self-knowledge about which you are reading in the Upanishads is nothing but the knowledge of God. It is God's knowledge, and if God is gracious, He can give you self-knowledge in a moment. You see? And so he stressed very much to cultivate the spirit of bhakti, devotion, self-surrender. And if you want to have self-knowledge, in that case also, he said, through bhakti, one can have self-knowledge. So that period in his room, 2 hours, was a period of great inspiration. So many sadhus would come. Sometimes any senior monks would come, and he would at once respect them. I remember one Swami Chidananda. He was the translator of Swamiji's works, and later on he became our president for 6 months. He died. He was pretty old, but he died. 6 months he was president. So he one day came to see him, and at once he asked his attendants, bring a chair. His name was Sudhir Maharaj. There are 2 brothers. One was Swami Prakasananda, who I mentioned came to this country, and he was the head of our San Francisco Vedanta Society for several years. But he was the elder brother, Swami Chidananda. Initiation was, of course, different from Holy Mother, but Swami Chidananda had his initiation also from Swami Vivekananda. So this Swami Chidananda was the general secretary. He could not come every day, he was quite old. But one day he had come, and as soon as he came, he asked his attendants, bring a chair for Sudhir. His name was Sudhir. Then he told him, Swamiji blessed you that you will be a scholar, you will be a Pandit. And you are a Pandit now. You are so thorough in the study of Upanishads and all Vedanta books, and people study under you. So he appreciated, and anything praiseworthy would not miss his notice. He would at once bless these persons. Somebody would like to sing, and he liked songs, bhajans, religious songs very much. And so his company, I was blessed to have his company for when I was in Belur Math. When I was in college days, I used to come occasionally, once a month or so. But when I joined the Belur Math, I had the opportunity of staying there continuously till his end. So that was a great privilege. Any of these great disciples are part of Sri Ramakrishna. So remembering them, now fortunately plenty of literature is available on all these, most of these Swamis. Recently Swami Chidananda translated the Reminiscences of Latu Maharaj, Swami Adbhutananda. That was a Bengali book, but the non-Bengali people could not know anything about this life and of this great illiterate sadhu he was. And so Swami Chidananda has done a splendid work translating his conversations. So all these Swamis, great disciples, householder disciples, and when we study them, when we remember them, even when we look at their picture. Now in your shrine upstairs, Swami Chidananda showed me this morning that all the disciples, their pictures have been hung there. So it was Swami, once I had come to St. Louis, and I saw in the morning after meditation or even before meditation, Swami Satprakashan had got up and with an incense. He was going to every room. And he said, I am waking up these rooms. As if he was asleep and the rooms were asleep. And now I am invoking the presence of God. I am making all these rooms alive. And such is the devotee. Devotee is a mad person. It's what he will do, nobody knows. Devotee is love. Devotee means is love. Love cannot be restricted. You see, love nature is to be wild. You see, so you try to whatever things you do out of your love is something to imitate. So I remember that when Swami Prakasananda, he felt that this is a place of God, and in every room God's presence is there. So he was doing this. So when I went to the shrine this morning, and I felt that all these great disciples, monastic disciples' pictures were hung, and I remember this incident. And in Sacramento, where I live, the Sacramento Center, I sometimes do the same thing. In the morning, I light. There is a shrine in my bedroom, where I meditate. But incense, I go to each room, and then mentally, I remember the trees and the other buildings, and mentally I show this incense. You see, because our scripture says that God is everywhere. God, if you are clever, if your bhakti is strong, you can feel the presence of God everywhere. So I remember this incident of Swami Prakasananda, and following his example, I try to do that in the Sacramento Center. See? All right, it is getting late. This chatting is endless, No, this is not necessary. The Mahapurush Maharaj time, when he had samadhi, you see, when he gave up his body, many stories are known. Some of the stories may be imaginary, you see, and some are personal attendants said that was really a yogi is leaving this world. That is a sight to see. A person remembering God, though the last year of his life was very physically, he had a stroke and thrombosis, and one side, the right side, was paralyzed, but his brain was clear. Devotees and sadhus could go, and he remembered everybody by left hand, which was active. By raising his left hand, he would bless everybody. See, his brain was very clear. At the end, when he was giving up his body, then at one door, at the back door, there are women devotees are standing there. And inside there were sadhus, brahmacharis and sadhus. They were chanting and they were singing some bhajans. And the women devotees were there, and they began to cry, like a father going away. And they began to cry, sometimes very loudly, they are crying. And then this next day, one of our senior Swamis, Swami Prakasananda, who was a Holy Mother's disciple, and Mahapurush Maharaj, and writer of many songs which he sing in our ashramas. And Mahapurush Maharaj liked one of his songs very much, you see. Mahapurush Maharaj and Swami Brahmananda. And once he had come from his center to meet Mahapurush Maharaj, and Mahapurush Maharaj said, "You have become immortal by one of your songs, one song." So anyway, the sadhus were singing song after song, they were chanting and all. There was an atmosphere of a spiritual atmosphere, not any atmosphere of grief. So this Swami, his name was Swami Prakasananda. Next day, the other sadhus were there and I happened to be there. He said, "You see, these women devotees, see, they spoilt the atmosphere by crying. You see, a sadhu like Mahapurush Maharaj, who has already become free, Jivan Mukta, in this life, and he is giving up his body. What is there in this body of flesh and bones? It is not such a precious thing. And he is so, he has, that blessed moment has come that he is now giving up this cage of flesh and bone. So that is a moment of joy for sadhus, to give up this body, and with God's name. And Mahapurush Maharaj, he was a man of constant remembrance. You could see his face, that in himself there was nothing but God, nothing but Thakur. So such a man is giving up his body, it is an occasion of joy. Why should they cry? So this remark was made, you see. Not any reflection on women, but he said a sadhu like Mahapurush Maharaj, a great yogi, when he is giving up his body, it is an occasion of joy for everyone. So let us salute Sri Ramakrishna, Mother, every day, and Swamiji, great messenger, and all these great disciples. They are of special type. And with that, let us add all the householder disciples, men, women, and let us also add to our salutation the devotees of all times, the devotees of past, the devotees of present, and the devotees of the future. Devotees are devotees. Each devotee is a lamp. You see, each devotee is a lamp. And so each devotee is a house of the Lord. So when we have the occasion to remember Sri Ramakrishna, along with Sri Ramakrishna, we should also salute mentally these not merely the great apostles and companions, but all devotees. All devotees are devotees of God. You see? So in this way we should expand our heart. Whenever you see a devotee, just as Sri Ramakrishna's was that when two drunkards meet, they become very happy. They embrace each other, you see, because they belong to the same society. So devotees are a society, form a society by himself. When one devotee, rich or poor, beautiful or ugly, old or young, when one devotee meets another devotee, there should be joy in the heart. Oh, he is the devotee of God. My Ramakrishna or my Christ or my Buddha, whatever my Ishta, doesn't matter. But he is a devotee of God. Like that we should mentally salute and remember. So we have not wasted our time this evening. We have remembered these devotees, old and new, and each one of you I salute. You see, because each one of you has a sacred shrine in the heart, and Sri Ramakrishna is living there. Good night.
We are very grateful to Swami to tell his reminiscences. He did not go out 5 years from Sacramento, except once in Hollywood and once in San Francisco. But he is kind enough to accept our invitation on the occasion of our golden jubilee. So we are really happy. And tomorrow Swami will speak on the message of the Upanishad. And it is too late, it is not possible for Swami to greet everybody right now, because he has not yet taken his food. So tomorrow he will greet.
Greet means what?
He will sit there on a chair and just...
Oh, that. Now I am greeting everybody now. Short greeting. We shall pass to that. But again, after lecture chatting, that is. I have a kind of arthritic pain in the back, lower back and all. So though I am strong, much stronger than before, I cannot walk without it.